In the 13th century, a French monk named William of Rubruck spent 6 months living with the Mongols. He was a man of God, a serious man, a man not easily impressed. And when he tried the Mongol army's primary drink for the first time, here is what he wrote. "It is pungent on the tongue, like wine when drunk, and when a man has finished drinking, it leaves a taste of milk of almonds on the tongue, and it makes the inner man most joyful." What William of Rubruck had just tasted was Airag, fermented mare's milk, slightly alcoholic, naturally carbonated, more vitamin C than orange juice, and it was being made automatically by the movement of the horse underneath the warrior riding it. The Mongol army didn't just ride their horses, they drank them. Chapter 1: The Water Problem. To understand why Airag mattered, you have to understand one of the most dangerous things about medieval warfare that nobody talks about. It wasn't the swords, it wasn't the arrows, it wasn't even the cold. Armies in the medieval period were devastated by waterborne illness more consistently than by any weapon. Dysentery alone destroyed more campaigns than any opposing force. You took 100,000 men, you marched them across unfamiliar territory, they drank from rivers and streams contaminated by the armies ahead of them, and within weeks you had a catastrophic medical crisis on your hands. This is not a minor problem. This is often the difference between winning and losing. The Roman army solved it with posca, vinegar and water, which we covered when we talked about Roman rations. The Roman solution worked because acidity kills bacteria. The Mongols solved it differently, and their solution was arguably more elegant because it didn't just make the water safe, it replaced the water entirely. Airag was the Mongol army's primary hydration source on campaign. It delivered fluids, calories, vitamins, and probiotics in a single drink that the army produced themselves, from animals they were already riding, using a fermentation process that required no special equipment and no dedicated preparation time. The horse was the weapon. The horse was also the food supply. And the horse was also the brewery. Chapter 2: What Airag actually is. Airag is fermented mare's milk. In the rest of Central Asia, it is known as kumis. Same drink, different name. The process starts with milking the mares. During peak season, mid-June through early October, mares were milked multiple times a day, sometimes as many as 8 or 9 times. A single mare produced roughly 1,000 to 1,200 liters of milk across a full season. That milk cannot be drunk raw. Raw mare's milk is a powerful laxative due to its exceptionally high lactose content, significantly higher than cow's milk. Drink it unfermented and you will not be riding anywhere the next morning. But fermented, the lactose is converted by bacteria and yeast into lactic acid, ethanol, and carbon dioxide. The laxative effect disappears. The drink becomes carbonated, slightly sour, mildly alcoholic, and completely safe to consume in large quantities. Here is the detail that makes this extraordinary. The Mongols didn't need a dedicated brewery to make it. They didn't need a building, a vat, or a production process that required stopping. They strapped a leather bag of fresh mare's milk to their saddle. The heat from the horse's body warmed the milk to the ideal fermentation temperature. The constant motion of the horse's gait agitated the milk continuously, exactly what the fermentation process requires. By the time a column had ridden for a day, the bag on the saddle contained Airag. The horse made its own drink while you rode it. That same leather bag was never washed between batches. The bacteria from the previous fermentation remained on the walls of the bag and acted as a starter culture for the next batch. Every bag was essentially a living brewery that improved with age. Chapter 3: What was actually inside it? Here is the nutritional picture that makes Airag genuinely shocking. 1 liter of Airag contains 95 to 100 milligrams of vitamin C. A medium orange contains roughly 60 to 70 milligrams. The Mongol army's daily drink delivered more vitamin C than fresh citrus fruit. in a region where citrus fruit did not exist. This matters enormously. Vitamin C deficiency causes scurvy. Scurvy destroys an army. Bleeding gums, joint pain, weakness, death. It devastated European naval fleets for centuries because they couldn't solve the vitamin C problem on long campaigns. The Mongols solved it without knowing what a vitamin was. Airag also delivers vitamins A, D, and E, along with calcium, phosphorus, and a dense colony of probiotic bacteria. That probiotic load is why Mongol warriors on campaign didn't get gut sickness at the rate that plagued other armies. The bacteria in the drink was actively outcompeting pathogens in the digestive system, and the alcohol content, between 0.5% and 2.5%, was low enough that a warrior could drink it throughout the day without impairment. But it was high enough that it killed a significant portion of waterborne bacteria on contact. Airag was simultaneously hydration, nutrition, vitamin supplement, probiotic, and water purification system in a single leather bag. Made by a horse. While riding, Chapter 4, How the Army Used It. Every entering or leaving a Mongol yurt was expected to stir the fermentation bag hanging by the entrance, not as a ritual, as a practical contribution to the camp's food production. Everyone who walked past the bag gave it a stir. The fermentation was a communal project that required no dedicated labor. On campaign, the saddlebags handled the stirring automatically. Airag was consumed throughout the day. A seasoned Mongol warrior reportedly consumed several liters daily during summer campaign season. It substituted for meals when food was scarce. It hydrated in desert conditions. It kept the gut healthy when everything else around was trying to kill you. A full season's supply of Airag for a substantial portion of the army required up to 60 horses, which is why the ability to drink it regularly was also a status symbol. The great Khan Mongke had a dedicated drinking fountain built at his capital that dispensed Airag alongside wine from China and Persia. He wanted the world to know that the Mongol drink sat at the same table as the finest beverages of every civilization he had conquered. The Mongols were not embarrassed about drinking fermented horse milk. They were proud of it. It was the fuel of the greatest military campaign in human history. Chapter 5. Why this still matters. You cannot make authentic Airag without a horse. Mare's milk is not available at your local grocery store. But the principle is something you can replicate today. The fermentation process that makes Airag work is the same process behind kefir, which you can buy at any supermarket, or make at home from cow's milk with a kefir starter culture for a few dollars. The probiotic bacteria are similar. The lactic acid fermentation is identical. The gut health benefits are the same. What the Mongols had figured out, without microbiology, without germ theory, without any understanding of what was actually happening inside that leather bag, was that fermented dairy was a superior hydration source to water, that it built gut resilience, that it delivered vitamins that kept men alive and functioning in conditions that destroyed other armies. Modern sports science has spent decades confirming what the Mongols already knew. The largest land empire in history was not built on strength alone. It was built on nutrition, on a food system so well engineered that an army moving 60 miles a day across 3 continents could sustain itself from the animals underneath them. Borts in the coat pocket, aaruul for protein. Airag in the saddlebag, 3 foods, 1 horse, half the world. The alternate past isn't that far away. If this is your first time here, we are working through every major civilization and pulling out the survival knowledge that actually worked. Not theory, not modern interpretation. The real systems that kept real armies alive. Every video in this series connects to the next. Borts, aaruul, Airag. This is the complete Mongol field ration system. And by now you know more about how the Mongol army fed itself than most history professors do. Next up, we are leaving Mongolia. The Romans are waiting. And the Roman food system was just as ruthlessly engineered and just as forgotten. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. And if you've ever tried kefir and wondered where it came from, Now you know. Drop that in the comments.